This pattern is pretty fast and very easy, very effective. I've got a size 18 scud hook here in the vise or curved hook. I'll tie it in an 18 or a 20 or a 22. I won't go much smaller than that because I can't see well enough to get it on my line anymore. But just three materials other than your thread. We're going to be using some Superfine dubbing here. We'll use the black color for a thorax. We're going to use this material, which is just called Superhair, and we're just going to use one strand of this black Superhair, and then I'm going to use a piece of Pearl Mirage tinsel for a wing case. And really that's all there is to it. So we'll want to keep the body nice and tight. I'm going to be using this just sheer 14-aught in kind of a cream color. This is going to be a cream midge. So the cream colored thread is important for a cream midge. So I'm going to start a little bit behind the eye of the hook here, just to make sure I have some space to tie this thing off when we're done. And we're just going to go ahead and take some turns here and secure the thread onto the hook, and then we'll just come on in with our scissors and we'll cut that balance off. And once I've got that balance cut off, I'm going to reach for a single strand of the Superhair, and this is going to form the ribbing on the fly. I'm going to kind of pull this down to where I'm close to the end of it, mostly because I'm probably, more than anything else, I'm lazy and I don't want to cut it off. So I can just take a couple of wraps and draw this back a little bit, just like that. There'll be a small taper on this, but not much of a taper. And we're just going to go ahead and take this cream thread, and we're going to bring it down around the bend of the hook here. And I will keep turning my vise sideways from time to time just to see how deep we're getting on the bend of the hook. And I'm going to take this pretty far, about halfway down. Then we're going to come back up with some touching wraps, because I want it to be really thin back here in the back. Oh, I guess there is one other ingredient I forgot, aside from the thread, is we'll put a little bit of UV on this when we finish it up. So I'm just going to secure that Superhair down, but I'm also going to just kind of come back because I want that cream, which is a lighter color. It'll show through a little bit and be a little bit darker because of your hook. But if you take, just one or two trips down, building a small taper, that will help cover all of that up. So we're just going to take this down again to about the bend of the hook, and we'll bring it back up, and you'll see hopefully on the camera that cream is becoming a lot more pronounced. The dark material of the hook, because I'm using a nickel hook, is not showing through nearly as much. So I've got it to about here. I'm going to build a little bit of taper. My thorax is going to be right up here by the eye of the hook, so I don't need to worry too much about the taper getting all the way up to the eye of the hook, not by a long shot. From here, I'm just going to use my finger half hitch method to quickly just throw in a half hitch here. I just, again, find it easier to throw my thread on a bobbin cradle. You don't need to do this, but I'm not going to be spinning this. I just want my thread out of the way. So now I've got a hold of my Superfine, and we're going to try to take as even of wraps around this as possible. And you can pull this fairly tight. It's not wire, but it is fairly stiff. So we're just going to work our way up towards the eye of the hook here, just wrapping around the shank of the hook. And that's about as far as I need to take it. I'm going to keep my tension on this Superhair because I don't want it to come unwound. But I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my thread a little bit, and we'll just go ahead and take a few wraps over the top of the Superhair. And that will help us get it just kind of locked into place, just like that. Take a few wraps in front of it as well. I'm going to go down to the eye and back just so that I have a base of thread. And then we're going to go ahead and cut off the balance. Probably could make about 10 more of these midges here. So now we've got the abdomen done, and that's really all there is to the abdomen. Once I get to about here, I'm going to reposition. You'll notice I've kind of got my hook on a downward trajectory. That just helps me make some of those wraps down here around the bend of the hook. I'll just loosen my vise up and get that closer to parallel and just lock it back down again. And from here, we're going to go ahead and tie in our medium-sized pearl. I want that centered over the top of the hook. I'll take a few thread wraps there to kind of hold that in place. And my biggest concern right here is just to try to keep that centered over the top of the hook. So hopefully you end up with something that's going to be looking about like that. So I've got my little wisp of black Superfine. We don't need a lot. It's a size 18, and we're just building a thorax here. So I'm just going to finger dub this onto my thread. Nice and tight. That's what I like about Superfine, is when you need a nice and tight dubbing, it does a really nice job. So we're just going to take some thread wraps here, and I'll go ahead and build up a little dubbing ball over the top of the hook here. We've got that in place. I'm now just going to fold my pearl tinsel over the top, get it around the eye of the hook. I'm going to pull that kind of tight just so that it does stay in place. I'll take 2 or 3 wraps there. Then I'm going to pull the material backwards, and I'm going to take a couple of wraps right around the eye, but no longer on the material. And with that, I'm done with that material. So from here, I'm just going to grab my whip finisher, and we'll put a 3 or 4 turn whip finish on here. Since we'll be using UV, I'm not too concerned about it. Vise is a little bit loose, so we're going to go ahead and turn this sideways so I can just come on in here with my end of my whip finisher, and we're going to use that end to remove our thread. For UV, today I'm just going to use some UV clear in the thin. And we just want this slightest of coat over the top of this fly. I don't want it to go around the bottom. I just want it around the top. And we'll just go ahead and hit it with our torch or our flashlight, our UV light. I use UV for certain patterns. I don't use it a lot, but I do use it for certain patterns. And what I really like this loon, not that I'm marketing or anything, but this is a rechargeable one. So I just, plug it in after a few flies, and then it's good to go. I don't have to worry about batteries or going back upstairs to get batteries. So with that, we should be done with our pattern. So there you go. Again, really quick and easy pattern to tie. I do have a little straggler, so we'll come on in and snip him out. So here we are with the finished product. Here's our cream midge. Again, very quick and easy. Super hair, super fine dubbing, and a piece of pearl tinsel, and you're good to go. This fly is very effective.